Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Printing's Alive with me, your host, Warren Werbitt. Today we have a super guest. I think that's a good way to start, super guest. We've got Emma Farquharson. How you doing?
I am living the dream. It is 7:32 p.m. here in Thailand. So jazz, because last time when we tried to do this, it was 10 p.m. Although I love spending my evenings with you, Warren. It's always a hoot. You're fascinating to talk to.
Hey, it's 7:30 a.m. on Monday here, and I'm a little tired after the weekend, but for you, I got up early. How's that?
You're so sweet. I didn't get you anything in return except for a can-do attitude.
Oh, that's okay. You'll make it up somewhere down the road.
Perfect.
Cool. So let's just get into it. Basically, tell us a little bit about shared Intel AI, because AI is where the world's at right now, and that's what you're specializing in. And then we'll get into the world of print and AI and. Go ahead.
And then. This thing on. So I'm the CEO and co-founder of Shared Intel AI. It's not just AI, it's also automation that we help companies with. And we help companies specifically in the print industry to move from what I'm going to call AI and automation curiosity, fragmented approach, to structured capability, with our focus being laser tuned to the measurable impact. And we do that a couple of different ways for our clients, predominantly because there's still quite a varied range of AI and automation readiness across the print industry. So for some of our clients, they kind of need the whole pipeline with us. We help them create a bird's eye view of how their people are, how their data is, what's going on at their company, so that they can spot where they can put the technology as a whole. We also then match them up with not a million tools, but the actual 3 top tools that'll drive the largest measurable impact for them. And usually we try and also focus on an automation layer, whether that's a tool that people put in place or we help to automate some of their key pain points, partially and majorly actually, because that space that's created from putting automations in place allows training that's comes after for the whole organization, and also for key spots that once again are focused on driving that value. So that full picture of, we create the training, we help them spot what they need, or we connect them to other players that will help drive the value faster or at larger scale than Shared Intel AI can do. It's really about spotting where the problems are, asking the right questions, and then handing them the solutions, turnkey edition. What are you doing, Warren?
I'm listening to you.
Oh, perfect. Bring up that.
Yeah. So the whole AI thing, and I'll just say the AI is just off the charts, right? And there's so many uses, and I'm playing with it for some work. I'm playing with it for some entertainment. I'm making little videos, ads, promotions, finding ways to use it to make me more productive, or even less frustrated in what I'm doing. Because I think for me, the AI's had incredible, it's been incredible for me just in what I could do with it and how I could move forward with my life and some things. I've said it before, it's like a little ADHD, a little dyslexia. I sit there, sometimes I get stuck. The AI is incredible for helping me move forward faster. Right. Yeah. And I use it strictly as a tool. I've been calling it a tool from the beginning. It's not the end all of end all. I mean, in my chat at the bottom, it says chat AI will make mistakes. I don't know if everybody actually sees that or reads that before they go and copy paste and put something out. Right.
But I also think, Warren, to your point, I don't think people know what that means. What does AI makes mistakes, right? So, because one of the things that we fight against at Shared Intel AI is that a lot of the narratives are around this magic bullet type of phrasing, which is really not how that works. But if you spook someone and you say, hey, they might make mistakes, but you don't explain how it makes mistakes, how to spot those mistakes, thanks for the heads up. What are we supposed to do with that exactly? But I hear you that people just look right through it, and it's just OpenAI's or Gemini's or Copilot wiping their hands saying, well, there was a disclaimer at the bottom of the box.
Yeah, so just a quick example of somebody using AI and not reading is I got into a little bit of a spat with someone online, and
Okay.
it's going back and forth. I don't really fight with people that often, but it's going back and forth, and the guy, I could see the guy's writing using AI. And I'm kind of like, oh my God. And I don't want to go back and forth with anybody because I made a point. They made a point, let it go.
Yeah.
The only thing I could reply to him was, listen, if you're going to use AI and it tells you to put your name somewhere, you're supposed to change your name before you post. And I left it like that.
I'll one up you. I got hi. Insert name here.
Oh my God. It's
you know what
funny.
I wrote back, it's pronounced Emma.
Okay, so now I have a real question. You're, well, first of all, you come from somebody with a pretty good legacy who's laid out, some good roads for all of us in print. Would be, oh no, Mr. Bill, Dad.
So most people have no idea who he is. Bill Farquharson, I believe, is how he pronounces it.
He's the 6'5" guy who's teaching sales to all of us, right?
6'6", Warren. Give him a chance.
Okay.
Have you seen?
No. I think he shrunk a little as he got older because everybody loses a little bit. So I just added it right away.
The way he's been gelling, the way he gels his hair now, it's like up here.
It gives him that inch that he lost.
Yeah, so,
so you've been around print a long time.
Yes, I really have.
I'm sure you've heard him talk about everything because of what he's doing and who he does it with. We're not exactly the fastest moving industry in the world when it comes to adopting change. I'm not even talking technology. I'm just talking people-wise attitude and the way we do things. Then we throw in the technology of AI. How do you find people in the industry embracing it?
There's a whole spectrum. So
go ahead.
I like to bring it back to one of the most sound pieces of evidence that we have, which is the Printing Alliance 2025 AI implementation report. And one reason I'm bringing this report up is because 2026 is a year where we now have 2025 data that is industry line. So there's absolutely no reason why we should be shooting in the dark here, because there is data that shows where the success patterns were and where the failures were. And so in that report, it talked about, and this is Q4 of 2025 when this was compiled, and it talked about how 57% of the print industry knows the importance of AI, but has no idea where to start. And I think it was like 53% of them have used AI, but they don't know what use cases to apply it to. So they have that foundational prompt skills and context loading. And
so 53% is good.
I would say I was surprised because in the scheme of technology adoption, right? Like, let's go back to the horror stories that my father told me about him, like waving a zip drive in people's face, being like, it's the future, and no one listened. And honestly, though, he would get so mad about it. I think he actually still does. He gets a little red, little tiny fist in the air. And so, but what that statistic completely lined up with, it was so soothing to see, because mind you, I'm teaching this AI and automation, helping to implement it, strictly focused on where's your problem, here's the solution. Where's your problem, here's the solution. So then seeing from my own clients all through 2025, them also being really split. This is the spectrum I see, Warren. I see for let's go like youngest age group, because I really do see this being a bit of a generational divide, which surprised me. But then when I reframed it in my head as the industry being a rather traditionally structured hierarchical industry, that made a bit more.
Old industry is what, because we have to stop with these terms. The bottom line is, in English, it's still an old white man's industry that's a problem. Slow moving.
Yeah. But I also think completely blaming. So as a woman, I think when we completely blame on any one group or gender, etc., I'm not saying not to point fingers on where there is actual fingers to point, but when we focus so much on that, it becomes an angry issue instead of how do we drive change. So if that's the rules that we're playing with, so how do we make those people who are top of the line turn around and help the people behind them? There has to, unfortunately / fortunately, a lot of the time, there needs to be an incentive there. So let's talk about that youngest group, Warren, because that youngest group is often hired by the print industry to be their Excel sheet guru, right? The tech drivers. And before, that was an insult to their intelligence. Now, with AI and automation, and them fresh off the press, if you will, for training, not only are they open-minded, not only are they not clouded by the old ways, and they have that drive to show what they can do. But as someone who knows AI, who teaches AI and automation, you need a problem to aim it at. So it's such a huge opportunity. But if that age group, the boomers who are in those positions, really want to bring in more tech help, this is the exact moment to do that, because now you're not insulting their intelligence, which means your young people stay motivated and they feel like they're a part of a group, which means that the emotional benefit of feeling a part of something, which, again, I'm a millennial, so on and off from society, we felt like we were snowflakes who also were snowflakes because we spent a different time understanding ourselves or had more, whatever. That young group right there, that's a huge missed opportunity, and they're angry and they're distraught, because here's the other thing that happened to that age group. One is that their universities flipped the bird at them and said, oh, no, we're not going to teach you how to use AI. We're also not going to teach you what's wrong or right about it. And you're not allowed to use these tools at all on campus, which is how most of them are using, right? It bars them from opening up these websites. So not only can they not get taught by the university, but they can't teach themselves. You can see from my head bobbing how frustrating this is and how angering this is for me, for all the reasons I've already listed and then some. You know, you really want to get them fired up, go reach out to Ferris University and hear what those students have to say, because their eyebrows are higher than mine.
Yeah, no, it's you know, you talk at that. First of all, I hate labels. I hate the fact that we have Generation X and baby boomers and millennials and whatever other crazy thing they're going to come up with, because labels are a problem into itself.
Sure.
Right? In general. But like, so something that happened the other day is we're talking about young people, and it's been bugging me for 4 days, if not 5 days now. And okay. I was going to put something on LinkedIn and write something, and then I didn't. And then we started this conversation, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to bring it up, because I'm not bringing it up to be, I'm bringing it up because I'm mad. I'm bringing it up because I'm angry, because this was a perfect opportunity for young, different people to be included, and it wasn't, right? So basically what it was, and I'm going to get the picture up. Before I get the picture up.
Tell me the story.
So before I get the picture up, there's this organization called PAC Global. They're based out of Toronto. They've got, I don't know, thousands of members all over, big companies and all the big retailers and manufacturers, and everyone that's part of the packaging world in any space is part of it. Yeah. And you know, they do a good job, or so I think. And then they have an online webinar for members and non-members on AI automation. So I click on everything, because I just want, if nothing else, I just want to hear what others are saying, so I could at least learn, if nothing else, some of the lingo, right? Just to be able to have a conversation. Yeah. I go on into the meeting. Yeah. And I'm going to show you what I saw.
Let me see.
And can you see that?
I can.
So, I'm going to do a little big. Oh, too big. Hang on. So, when I look around that table, I am just starting to stew. Smoke is coming out of my ears. Why? And for anybody listening, I'm not going to mention any names, because I don't really know anybody's name. Yes, I know everybody's name at the table, but it's not about the names. I see a bunch of white old men with no hair in dark colored suits and shirts. I see no women, no young women, no young men, nobody in our industry that should be there. AI is a hot topic. The young people are embracing it, are quicker with it than the people sitting around the table, right? And I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on here?
So what's it take?
Our industry is begging everyone for younger people to come in. Yep. Where is their room at the table? Why is there not a seat there for somebody?
I'm with you.
I'm getting rid of the picture because I can't look anymore.
So did you reach out and ask that of why there are no young people at the table, right? Because maybe they didn't know how to reach them?
So I sent a couple notes to whoever.
Okay.
More just putting down my thoughts in a kind way, ish.
Okay.
Black and white. And the responses I got back were a joke. It was more like a joke in the sense that they were kind of joking about it, but there was nothing affirmative. And maybe those people weren't in charge.
Did I lose you?
Are we having another internet issue? Do you hear me?
You're back.
I'm back.
You froze.
Okay, so
you're
we'll
back.
just keep going. We'll keep going, and after when we look at it, we'll make sure that it all works. But so what I'm saying is, this is an opportunity. AI is an opportunity for our industry to attract younger people because now everybody wants to know what's up with AI.
Right.
Which gives you an opportunity.
I call it they're awake now. I would say the industry, it made perfect sense that half of them are aware, really understand AI, but don't know where to drive it because they now are awake to it. They get it. They've seen it. They've gone to a couple conferences. They've seen a good chunk of demos. They've touched something themselves. Yeah, there's some hype. Go on, though.
No, I'm just saying, a little bit of hype. But it's where they're at. They're on the change. They're on the cusp of doing all of this. Yeah. And all the old white men around the table are grasping to learn something about it and what to do with it, right? So again, as an industry, I'm sickened that there are no young people at the table. Every one of those people could say whatever they want to me after. There is no excuse anymore. Yeah. It's bullshit. And that's really what it is. There's no more excuse.
Yeah.
So
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. I just did a series last month on AI, like human first AI for leadership. And I taught it with Dr. Barbara Mutetsi. And in that, one of the things that we talked about is emotional safety, right? So if you want to onboard new technology, if you need that feedback, because this is a very customizable technology, and you need that feedback down to the granular to drive that value and scale it. And my question here is, do you think with an industry like the print industry, where a lot of business is who you know, right? Because there's a lot of saturation in the industry. A lot of the business that's built is who you know and those personal connections. So if you were to take someone who is in the industry, doesn't know who knows anybody, but knows that everybody seems to know everybody to some degree at that level, right, at that age group, do you think that they'd feel safe enough to say something that might push back on popular opinion, especially if it's for self-advocation or advocating for a group that is regularly used as transitional IT rather than the combination of industry experience and technological prowess? What's your take?
What was your question?
7. No, I was saying, if you want to, so let's say you get the youth to the table. Let's say you get 30s and 25s, and I'm 32. You get them to the table. Yeah. At that table, the people that high up, right? Because at that age you're quite high up. They all know the different higher ups, right? So it's a in my mind, if I were to go sit at that table and I'm looking to expand into the print industry, I don't know if I would feel safe enough to speak up.
You're talking like that. Well, the way it sits right now, I can see where you're coming from. Why? Because no one's embracing anybody. No one's opening the door and saying, come in and be friendly and let me give you a group hug because we're a community.
Yeah, so, it used to be like that. I used to see that a lot in the print industry. It's why I used to love it. I mean, I still do.
Well,
but
no, you know what? I see it, but our industry is changing. It's becoming more. It's becoming more. It's becoming more cutthroat, right? Everyone's got to sell what they got to sell. So they're doing what they have to do. The relationships are not quite the same. People move around. Things are changing. You don't know who to trust anymore, right?
Yeah.
You don't know who's.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of, I'll call it discomfort, because there's a lot of discomfort out there right now. We have good some people have good relations and we want to hang on to them, and it's good, but it's a blurred line between good relations, friendship, and business.
Yep. Yeah. No, and I think
Right?
if you're not authentic in the way that you're showing up to those, and you're trying to drive a different business, not only can people feel that, but it also does sour what. For example, Warren, one of my differentiators at Shared Intel AI is that we focus on building the trust, because this is really vulnerable for people emotionally, for people's companies. They might rework their whole thing or the majority of it. But that principle right there, the reason that we've grown in the past 2 years to such heights at Shared Intel is specifically because we focus in on that trust part first, because we make sure that everybody feels really safe and that I'm very transparent. But here's my superpower with that authentic transparency is that, like, I'm autistic, right? So for me, there is no other way. There's only the authentic. There's only the truth. I can't stomach the rest. I can't sit behind. I mean, ADHD also tends to struggle with that, and so that angle right there, that the inability to remember what trust does. We are, at the end of the day, Warren, you and I were both kids with our feet kicked out on a swing, with big dreams and warm feelings when we did it. Nice job. I mean, remember when you first started in the industry and you were like, oh, this is nice to be a part of something. And what we mentioned right before we hopped on this is that something got lost. Some piece of communication, the print industry got lost along the way, where they thought you can't have competition with collaboration. But the collaboration is where you all use each other's strengths to drive the competition from there.
Well, if we want to talk collaboration in the print industry, we could talk about the manufacturers. More so today, more so than ever, they're all intertwined. If it isn't with printing heads or software or hardware, right? Yeah. Everybody's doing something. The digital guy dealing with the conventional manufacture of presses, the software guys helping everyone with the same, right? So it is, and on the print side, I don't know why the same thing, but I mean, just I think AI is a great tool. It could help everyone. I'm not thinking about all the jobs you're going to lose, because if you lose jobs, other jobs are created. So I don't really care to talk about that, because that just becomes people's own. I mean, we could talk about it. I'm just saying it's like the .com, right? The computer, people get worried, but things become more of something else. So it's not really a problem. But this AI is the perfect opportunity for us to engage with my generation and your generation. And my generation, it seems, is a little too protective. Maybe as we're getting older, we don't want to think we're getting older, but you have to make some room at the table for somebody who's a little, younger, in order to come up and make it happen. So it's really strange. When you deal with your customers, who are your customers? Like, what's the mix of the people that are calling on you? And man, woman, age?
Let's see. So it's print industry, so all the different niches of the print industry, promo and signage and demand and direct mail, et cetera, all of them. I would say that for big picture, when people come to us looking to do the big picture strategizing, getting their leadership on board with as we go through where their company's at and where their departments are at, and the training parts, that tends to be, I'm just going to age group it, Gen Xers. I would say I've been pleasantly surprised. So most of the interactions that I do are with C-suites, presidents, so it's mainly executive and leadership teams, because they're the ones who can actually put these AI or automation into effect. And they also need to be the ones who create the policy around what you're allowed to use and what you're not, what data needs to look like and what you can't use, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the demographic is that part of the hierarchy. But I've been pleasantly surprised at how many women I have had in these meetings. It tends to be it tends to be, if I'm giving a presentation, so if it's a boomer generation and they've tapped me to come and give some kind of a presentation on AI policy creation or what's hot in the tech in the print industry or automations in AI, et cetera, that tends to be more women than men who approach me, which I find very interesting. These well, I guess not that interesting. The coordinator role tends to be them. When people are coming to me looking for training and also looking for that big picture, it tends to be more men on that strategy side. So, but that's kind of in line with the unfortunate gender norms that we see in the industry, anyways, where we see a lot of women in older generations who they didn't have those opportunities. I want to really just wave my hand in the air and say, hey, ladies, I understand you didn't have the type of microphone that women nowadays have, right? And the way that you're allowed to assert yourself. Even now, I see women get put down in the print industry. It's right? People need to pick new jokes. But the crowd that I'm trying to burgeon more into, that I find it quite difficult, is the students. I'm trying to create more wins for the students. But honestly, most of it is that they're dead broke and they've got the time now because people aren't hiring. They're hiring the robots instead. And they can't even get the industry experience to be competitive with a robot. So I'm trying, we're at Intel, we're creating a lot more new to sales, new print, focus in on trying to give them a win, right? And it's a little bit of a Robin Hood, steal from the rich.
So
what, rich to give to the franchise. Go on.
So why do you think it is such a problem with the companies, people to engage and bring in the students? I mean, not hiring.
That's a really good question.
They're not hiring because all I hear from people is they need people. So on one hand, I hear from everybody that they kind of need people. They're looking for people. And on the other hand, you hear they're not hiring.
So a couple of things. I see some semantic stuffs in place. I don't know if you've ever seen those job applications that go out. It is like somebody sneezed and a bunch of keywords landed on a page. I don't know how they think we're looking for those job applications, but you need to be really clear about what you want us to do if you want us to respond. The other thing is, don't forget that there's two universities in the United States that have a graphic arts program to any degree. And I think Ferris actually is closing their down, or they're turning it into
RIT. I think was changed their print program,
something like that. But still,
I don't know if it's Ferris, but I think it's RIT.
Right. So that I think is part of the problem, is that when we're talking about funneling from universities and stuff, why they're not getting picked up. A lot of what I also see is that how do I phrase this? I think the distrust between generations from the labeling that you brought up is a huge hindrance because it prefaces our thinking to lean that way. So I think one of the other reasons why there aren't more youth coming in and from leadership is specifically because there's a bad rap, there's a bad taste in younger people's mouths, right? Nobody wants a job out of desperation. And they're hearing also horror stories from the people above them, right? That they're a glorified calculator. And that doesn't feel good. I think that one of the best things that the print industry could do for the students coming out, and also for people that are new to print, is that they can create specifically programs that say, here's what it's like for us. Oops, did I freeze? Did you freeze?
We'll keep going. I'm going to cut this out, but I'm going to check after. If it's something's bad, we'll redo it. But I think the system just takes it all and then makes it right after.
Oh, because it's recording on both of our. Got it. So what did you hear last?
I don't know. What were we saying?
We were talking about why it is that the younger generations are not being properly onboarded by organizations. Right. Yeah. So one of that is that there's not an onboarding process, right? So I think there's distrust between generations that came from this pointing fingers and labeling. I think that the opportunities really aren't given. And I think that the opportunities that are given are either not clear on what that opportunity is or how it's planning on going up. And it's disrespectful to their intelligence level and their capability.
I always ask people when I'm dealing with them and there's young people involved and why things are, not moving along or not happening.
Okay.
And you always get funny answers, but I remember just calling on somebody over and over again just to get through to them, and finally got through to them. I was trying to sell something, trying to get through to them, and finally got through, and the person was like, "Oh, you've been trying a really long time. Come see me." And I'm like, "No, I didn't do this to come see you. I said, I just put you into the mix where I'm going to phone you every week to touch base because you keep telling me to call back."
I'm just doing my due diligences. This wasn't supposed to be I didn't want to jump through a hoop. That's disrespectful.
Well, no, but so I'm saying to him, I'm calling every week because you're telling me to call back, and I just want to see how long it would take for you to actually give me an appointment after making me call you every week for 37 weeks. Mm-hmm. And I said to him, I have one question. I said, what do you tell your children when they come home from work and say to you, Dad, I've been calling this guy for 30 weeks who keeps telling me to call back and never gives me the time of day. Mm-hmm. And the guy just didn't have anything to say to me, which means that when people are interacting with others, they're not thinking about their own. They're not thinking about what they would own do. Well, but you have to.
I agree. But that's a skill set. That is a skill set.
I think that's a life set.
Yes, but when was the last time that you saw someone properly hand down that lesson? My dad, because he teaches this stuff, because to your point, Warren, he teaches sales, right, very well. And how to sell is about real human connection, the authenticity element, the human element, human respect, human decency, the human trust.
So respect would be the word that comes up in this session about the problem out there.
Yeah,
because everybody's giving mixed messages, I think. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's just really frustrating.
Yeah, of course. It's disorienting. But here's my other question for you, right? So one of the reasons why, because I've been a beta tester of ChatGPT 2 years before it was released to the public, and this was still when I was working in biotech, right? So I was one of the testers that brought it forward into the public. So I knew this was right. And
hang on, you didn't tell anybody?
I'm sorry. When was the last time your parents listened to you?
No, you could have told me. I wasn't talking about your parents. I was talking about me.
Warren, I didn't know you yet. We weren't best friends yet. How am I supposed to do that?
Fair enough. Good excuse. I'll buy that one.
But listen, I'm ready to give you the download now, right? Cash in now, cash in hard.
Okay, let me have it. Tell us.
Here's the other problem. This is what really pissed me off and why I decided to go all in on the print industry, because these are my people, right? The print industry, my family, my extended family. Family is who you show up for and who shows up for you, right?
You hope they show up for you.
How I define it, if you make it on my list, that's the definition, Warren. That's the price we got to pay, right? Reciprocal. But so what got me over into the print industry, what really just and still makes me want to, is that the tactics that AI and automation use more often than not are scare tactics, fear tactics, manipulation tactics, and they're aiming at the 50 and plus. So at the same time, we're talking about disrespect. Now we have a whole new problem where the people who have made this tech that are in this age group, they're the jerks who are actually selling snake oil. So now once again, going back to your point, Warren, how can you tell who to trust and who to not? And since we're categorizing, because that's what our training in the last 10 years has been, in my opinion, pushed by the US and the rhetoric from social media, which is
social media,
right? So I understand, right? I am watching this generation getting manipulated and aimed at for ignorance. And I don't think anybody should be manipulated. So I think part of the story here, right? Because we talk about, on the one hand, it's really easy to point fingers and say, look what you did. But on the other hand, if I'm trying to say, okay, if I were them, what's my experience? The experience there is that they're also being aimed at more aggressively than any other generation for being stupid missing the mark, when in reality, they've got other things they're doing. They're driving companies. They're trying to create initiatives for the youth. And they're trying to protect themselves. High stakes. People freeze in high stakes.
Yeah.
So how do we create change, Warren? Like, what's your thought on that? Where would you, if you're in a seat of power, how do you bring them in? What's your thought?
Well, you can't just talk about things. There's a lot of good talk around the table.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
They need to start implementing more. Somebody has to start taking charge and discussing less. What?
So like, we're at the meeting, we've discussed it. Do you decide then? I mean, these are also meetings that'll be like an hour long with someone's time.
No, but if I'm the chairman, if I'm the president, if I'm the chairman, if I'm the managing director, call me whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm going to take initiative to make things happen in some of these organizations, and I'm going to delegate things to be done, whatever the plan is, and then people have to take action and do it. And you have to include, like if I look at that meeting, you have to include younger people if you're talking about them. Older people can't talk about younger people and what we're going to do to help them if they're not in the room listening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I hear from some young people, well, anyone younger than me is young, that they're heard, but they're not listened to.
Yep, I would say so. Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know, and change is not easy. So I'm not saying everything's so simple, but maybe everybody starts by trying at home with their kids. Because if you could get through learning at the table and coming to terms with your kids in some cases, then you're on your way to working with others.
What time of day? Is it morning or evening?
You plan different times for different meals, right? But I'm just saying, I listen, when I hang out with my kids or I hang out with other friends and their kids, and I just sit back and listen to what they talk and how they talk. That's how we learn what they do, right? Yeah. So there's somebody that I listen to a little bit, and I don't know if everyone knows him, but his name's Gary Vaynerchuk, also goes by Gary V. He's got a big following with the young generation, and I bring it up because the old generation should be listening to him. They should be listening to him in regards to what he's telling the younger generation, because he's instructing them on how to be, right? And what is he telling them? He's telling them to be authentic. He's telling them to don't fucking apologize to anyone for being who you are and what you do, right? So if they're being taught like that and encouraged to be independent, to be themselves, then we, or the people that are going to bring them in, hire them, have to know what they're dealing with, because they're being taught one thing, and then you bring them in, and then you're trying to teach them something else. But what you're trying to teach them isn't going to work in terms of who they should be and how they should act, right? So I think we need more older people getting in touch with how the younger people are thinking, and not try to school them or put them down for the way they do things.
Yes, I also think that maybe I think one of the mistakes that any cycle of generation Passover does is that people try and shove change really quickly. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a transition into something. I just think that there needs to be a plan, to your point, where there's a lot of ideation, not a lot of actual plan putting in place and acting on. So one of the print industry is like the largest industry in the world. It is extensive, and the concept that you're just going to all of a sudden just have the breath of the youth in you is unrealistic. I also think it is a shame to say the way we used to do things is not even worth attention. I think instead it should be looked at.
The worst line. I'm sorry, it's because it just hit me. The worst line, I just heard it the other day, someone say it in a conversation. Someone older, they said, I paid my dues, right?
Wait, what did you say it was? You froze on the exact moment. Warren.
It says I pay my dues. I paid my dues. I worked my whole life. I put in the time. I paid my dues.
What are you, an 80-year-old going down the road, running into people who won't get out of the way because they're on the sidewalk?
No, but that's what people are sitting around that table, how they look at things. I put in my time. I paid my dues. I worked hard. I worked on a Saturday. You guys don't want to work on Saturdays. So what I'm saying is, first of all, where did you come up with this? And who came up with, I paid my dues? Like, that's just the worst line you could possibly use.
That's an eye for an eye makes a whole world blind. You
worked on Saturdays. Well, guess what? Back then, I think they were stupid. No one should work on Saturdays if you work 5 days a week. We're on this planet for a short time. We shouldn't be on this planet to be working every day to try to make some money to go spend to get something. There's more to life than that treadmill.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, sorry, go on. That's just such juicy commentary.
We both have the same problem. But when I think back and I think today, I want to work a little less, and I thank the younger people for making me see that.
Yeah.
So I'm embracing that. And if we can get a 3-day work weekend, a 3-day weekend and a 4-day work week, and put more hours in on the 4 days to have the 3, I'm all for that. Right. I'm looking at people and even young people when they look at some of the how seniors are getting paid or the amount of money they get paid over there at the top level. I mean, they're negotiating for $3 and can't get it. I think when you're sitting in the top, I think when you're sitting in the top job and everything is justifiable, but anyone who makes $20 million or $10 million, and there's people below them, and I'm a capitalist, by the way, but I'm a fair one. I think you got to share a little and look at what it is. So it's a little discouraging as well on that end.
Yeah,
we have to embrace them. We have to do a better job of embracing them and not trying to school them, educate them, but not school them.
Right. And the other thing I just want to put out here, Warren, is that from the younger generations I speak to, I hear frustration over the way they've been treated and all the things that we've already mentioned. But one of the things that I really want to highlight for all the leaders out there that are listening is there's actually a lot more sympathy there and care, genuine care for what doesn't feel right to a generation that, you guys helped raise to some degree with your messaging. And ruin, but let's focus on it's obvious, right? The negative is so easy to focus on. But to your point, Warren, you said, I want to see some movement. So we use the negative to figure out what the problem is. Then once we have that, it's no longer relevant to just focus on the negative. We got to talk about how we switch, how we pivot, how we expand from there. So what I want to just highlight is that while there might be distaste, compassion is back in the younger generations. It's what allows a lot of us to be brave enough to be authentic, right? It is, as someone who exists, I am someone who exists outside of the status quo, outside of the 9 to 5. I travel the world for my clients, with my clients, and I can't tell you how lonely it can be. And one of the things I love about the print industry, and I haven't seen it enough, I've seen it die out, and I don't think but I've seen the momentum that so many don't want it to die out, is that the feeling of being connected, of belonging to a larger story, to a legacy, to the family XYZ, that still matters and still echoes. And that's, I think, where we put the focus of the reciprocal, is let me distill this industry knowledge, which is relevant to figure out what we want to do and what we don't. And also at the same time, I can't tell you I can implement it, but I am listening. And although they hear but don't listen necessarily, most people don't have the conversation more than 1 or 2 times. This conversation is a rolling basis. And a great way to practice that is on ChatGPT with an iterative conversation. Ha!
No, but it has to be. And I just, like I said, I hear a lot of older people talking about things, but not with the younger people.
No, I mean, I would say, when I'm talking, I have conversations with my dad, right? He's 65, going on 16. You heard it here, Belle.
Which great. Well,
And,
listen, that's the way it keeps us all young, right? You know.
I went
You
opposite
get you.
direction. I aged my spine like 80 years.
No, but you get up there in age. But like people say to me, "Oh my God, you're old." Yeah, but I'm still immature, so it's okay.
Yeah.
It's a good balance.
I'm not cultured yet. Don't worry. Oh, perfect. No, but really, like, I have conversations with
I'm trying to mature every day a little bit more. It's not going so well. Yeah,
maturation. Yeah. But no, I was going to say that with, on that concept of we need to be having more conversations with younger generations. I do agree with that, but like, let's take the conversations between my dad and I, right? So we had this last year. I said to my dad, instead of shared intel AI, let's go all in on the sales vault. Let's bring AI. Let's expand that value, XYZ. And my dad said, nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. None of my people want it. Now
he doesn't say that now.
But let me point out where both sides didn't hear each other, right? Because this is really the moral of my story. Where Bill didn't hear me is how it was meant, where the future was, because he was so stuck in what was right now, because that's his job. Where I didn't hear him is I wasn't in the industry long enough. And for me, I mean, I've been in the industry my whole life, but like for the clients that I was working with and the problems I was working in, I hadn't been in it long enough to understand no one was awake yet. There's a reason why the sales ball has jumped and gained an extra third of their total subscription, not just because it's incredible content, but also because specifically it was introduced at the right time. So that is another, that conversation, it's not just being able to say it, Warren. It's also how do you listen? And that last point, which is yours, which is how do we move on it, right? So I see my dad now, he listens because he now has a place to put it. But that was also part of my responsibility. Part of what makes me a good community member, right, is that you need to look at what's going on for them and figure out how is it a win-win, right? That's in sales. How is it a win-win? Always. It's all humanity. How is it a win-win? It's called collaboration, right? So that next step, I think that's what 2026 is how do we put action on it? And I'm telling you right now, besides the stuff that Shared Intel AI is doing, which, I mean, we're here to help. But besides that, like, there's some major players, and I can't say what, so you'll just have to stay tuned. But there's some major players gearing up to do some actual scaled, substantive, good for all sides. Not just good, but impact and empowerment, invigorating new ideas, new opportunities. With it in mind that there's lots of people at this table, this metaphorical table that we would love to actually populate with people. And that focus right there, once that emerges, I think the next step is to create those groups, right? Because we have to, the part of the AI process, like automation is getting rid of the bloat and freeing people's hands up. But the AI side on top of that is an iterative process, needs that troubleshooting. You're going to run into more problems. That's where the juicy stuff is. And that space right there is where I think people can actually respectfully fail together. We failed.
I could only hope so. Right?
I believe it, Warren, and I'm a deep skeptic.
So how do we create I'm just gonna like a little think tank made up of different people?
Well, I would say go on.
I'm to put thoughts going forward and ideas to encourage others to expand on working together or getting to know each other better.
We need a similar target here. And so I think we should aim at the youth. That's your mentorship token, right? That's also the new technology angle as well. Create who it is you want to see in the print industry. Give them the resources for goodness sake. They are motivated, they're intelligent, they're ready to go. Give them the material, but what that's going to need is capital. Right? Because you still have to make it, you still have to hire the training, you still have to put it out there, you still have to market it. That takes capital. So if the print industry really want to put their money where their mouth is, then all of these organizations should be putting into a joint pool that then specifically goes towards empowering the youth with this technology, with how the print industry did work, and where they're open to seeing the print industry go. That's what I think should happen.
So, okay, if I leave out the capital for a minute, right? Because that's always the beginning and the end of things in the world sometimes. How do we put together I'm going to say an amateur group, because there's no money, but people that are caring and concerned, and you work on some messaging, and for free, how do we get associations and other print owners to share that information even online and pass it on? Because if I look even at LinkedIn, there's a lot of people who don't even pass anything on or say anything because they're quiet. So even if you spend all that money, that doesn't mean it's going to go out and that the people are going to take it and do. So I'm thinking the other way, that we start off with lovers of the industry at all different ages that want to work together. And then it's a little bit of hand-to-hand combat in building the bigger team and expanding on it. Right?
I see the Grassroots team doing that.
You know, but you get what I'm saying though. We start off like we start up like a startup with no money, and most owners have been there and know what it is.
Warren, you told me never give it away for free. When we first met about this podcast, you said why would we not put capital behind this so that we can actually speed it up? I don't want people's free time. That's an hour here or there. This is a major operation.
I'm saying, well, you need to build the first table of people. Sure. There's no money for that. The first table of people, good people, smart people, dedicated people, caring people, people that are emotionally invested in the industry, right? You get one of each of those people. Yep. You then start thinking of your plan, capital to come, right? But if I'm going to be doing what I'm doing now in the industry, and I don't make any money. Actually, the podcast costs me money to put out to be part of it, which is kind of crazy, right? And I got to beg people if they want to. Yeah, well, so it's my passion thing, but you got to ask someone for $500 a month to sponsor you. It's like pulling teeth out. But if you ask them to go have a bottle of tequila with you, they're right there. So it's a little bit of a mix.
Did you try turning yourself into a bottle of tequila when, with Nano Banana when you send the request? Because this might be
personally, me and tequila, we don't want to be friends.
Tequila boom boom. I've heard of such a thing.
But it just everything starts with a core group. And then it's hand-to-hand combat. So like you're calling up 3 owners that you know, and you're saying, hey, can you put this messaging out in your company? Could you try on your social media to copy paste what I'm going to give you? And together, if you have 10,000 printers and their employees posting on their social about the goodness and what we're doing and or bringing and the people and the messaging, it's going to move, right?
It's still other problem where people don't have that time to getting into something is very difficult, right? That's why Atomic Habits is so popular, because you're able to layer the little tiny things. So I might not want to necessarily listen to a podcast where I've already not heard or gone on those resources, especially if I'm like, we're just talking about it, let's act on it. I actually think I'm going to end this. I love your idea, but I think it needs to happen at the expos. I think it needs to happen at the conferences, because why are we talking about connecting over Zoom? Do that after.
Well, the idea has to start somewhere.
I hear that, but lots of ideas start
and it's building a team of people on the same page. You're getting a group of people that can leave the egos at the door, because we're all a lot of A-type people. It's tough. Yep. And it's about the greater cause. Let's call it an illness. So if it's an illness, maybe people look at it a little differently, right? Drop the ego.
That's what they did with depression, right? Is how it was classified differently.
But we need that movement from passionate people. And I'm not saying I have the exact answer, but I'm not hearing anything out there that's consistent coming from anyone. And, it would be nice if all the different associations, the Printing United and all the different, wherever they are, I don't even know I'm trying to think of all the names of the associations. I can't think of one right now, but it would be nice if they could all play in the same sandbox when it comes just to improving our industry. Like the Dairy Association. We don't have, we have print associations, but we don't have a print association for all associations and people and everything to come together for general conversation.
Well, it sounds like that's the perfect target, is AI and automation for all print, right? Because right now, across the board, the industry is about to shake up. So honestly, everybody wins from being in a group like that. And you can start off with a very mixed board, right? But I'm going to push back again, is that it is not possible without capital. Because I have seen how people are like are doing some really kind things, but the impact that's needed, the scale that's needed.
Okay, yes, agreed. But like any organization fighting a disease and a cure, the first few meetings are not done with money. You need smart, good, dedicated people to find it. What?
I came from biotech and pharma, right? Research. So I hear you in bacteriophage virus work. Like, I hear you on that.
So with the right people, right, at the table, then you go out and you find the right people and you find some money. And there's a lot of companies spending money within our industry that I don't think are necessarily spending it in the right place either.
Couldn't agree more. I could not agree more.
So, and we don't have to get into all those details. So I just think that there has to be a way for the greater cause and the greater good of our industry. And it would be nice if Printing United and D-Scoop and EFI Connect and, even Alpha Graphics with all of their members and their franchisees, if there could be one common message that everybody was good to share.
Right.
And we don't have that.
Right. No,
maybe
and
we should come up with the message. Maybe we should come up with the message and see if we can sell it to them.
For the print industry out there, what do you think? This is where you leave the comment. This is your moment, you guys. Lay it on us. I hear that. I value. Thanks for the pushback. I love the other perspective, right? Because if you push back that intensely on that, there's something I'm missing, and I love that you're willing to point it out to me.
Oh, good. Why don't we do it
again? This is how we learn, my friend.
Well, listen. If you want to hear, I'm going to tell you. I'm good with that. So,
well, come on for another 5 hours, Warren.
we got a ways to go. Anyways, we're going to cut this one short because I know you've got a hard stop, and I've got to be somewhere also, like at the breakfast table because I got up so early. But no,
it's brush your teeth first before that yogurt, Warren.
I know. You got to learn. But so we're gonna pick this conversation up offline.
Yes.
Maybe we can come up with 4, 5, 6 people from different places, locations, whatnot, for a conversation.
Yep.
Right? Because I just think maybe I won't say there's a nonprofit to create with this, but it's where if we get people to the table, everybody has to be there. Actually, if we get everyone to the table, we create like a constitution and a mission statement of what we want. Yeah. And you buy in or don't come to the table because we want everyone talking the same way.
Everyone aligned. Yeah. Well, you want everyone talking the same way. You want them aligned, right, and willing to show up and work, because it won't work. It's just like a conversation. You can't have a conversation with someone who's not interested in talking back. That's not a conversation. That's speaking to a wall. So,
right.
I think let's definitely talk about it offline. I love that idea of leading the conversation, and I'm more than happy to lead by example and have the authentic, loud conversation.
And everything has to start with the conversation. Without it, there's nothing going anywhere. Course. So
correct.
Awesome. Okay, cool.
Everything dies, but words
came
last.
Out of this. Exactly.
Oh, thank God. Were you worried, Warren?
So before we get off I finish, anything you want to say, the parting words?
I would just go ahead and say I want the print industry to know that there are people out there that do care, and that want to hear your story and that can help you. Shared Intel AI is one of those places without any capital there. We offer 30-minute free consultations for anybody in the print industry at any level, who are looking to orient and better understand and figure out where the trust is. So you're not alone. I know this is a lot. I know that there's a lot of negative. Don't forget that we as individuals have a lot of agency to create impactful change at an individual level that amplifies and scales. It's kind of like automating it. I don't know, right?
I don't know.
Really, please reach out to Shared Intel AI at contact@sharedintelai.com. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to have conversations, you guys.
Cool. So funny when you say the free 30 minutes, which is great. People listening, I sign up with different people all the time for their conversations.
Yep.
Right?
If
people are offering, take advantage of it. You don't know what you might learn. And more importantly, you don't know that you're not going to make a connection with that person that goes down another road for a different opportunity. So,
right. And the print industry is great about that. So why not actualize it, you guys?
Cool. Okay. So first of all, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me on.
Always a fruitful conversation.
It really is.
We will continue because AI is not going anywhere and we have to keep evolving. It didn't start off where I wanted to talk about young people, more AI, but you know what? Young people, we need them and it is a problem. So I'm happy we had the conversation. Yeah. We will get back on AI on the next one and we will do it again. To anybody out there, anything you want to know, you have a question, you want me to inquire about something, you want me to bring something, you can call Emma or you can call me. Next time I'll come on your show. Oh, you don't have one? But you can make one.
Listen, Warren, only so many hands and robots on my team, okay?
I got it. Find more. So everybody, we hope you listened. We hope you enjoyed. All comments are appreciated. All comments are welcome. And other than that, go out. I love print. And we're going to keep doing the show. Emma, thanks again. Everybody else have a great day.
Thanks, Warren. Bye, everybody.